jury selection continues this morning for a brand new trial that we're following for you here on Court TV. This one is the missing stepdaughter trial. It's happening in North Carolina for defendant Christopher Palmiter. His stepdaughter, 11-year-old Madalina Cojocari, vanished back in November of 2022. Palmiter and Madalina's mother, Diana Cojocari, both are facing one count of failure to report a missing child. Now, little Madalina was last seen getting off of her school bus, and according to police reports, it took her parents 3 weeks to file a missing persons report. Madalina's grandparents allege that she was a victim of sex trafficking, saying that her mother, Diana, was scared of Palmiter and was seeking ways to leave him. With Madalina still missing this morning, the question is, where should the investigation go from here? Time to bring in my power panel this morning. Still with me, Sergeant Joe Giacalone, host of True Crime with the Sarge podcast. He's a retired NYPD detective. Also want to bring in trial attorney and trial advocacy professor Dante Mills and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Michael J. Brown. Great to see you all this morning. Sergeant Joe, I want to start with you, our investigator on the panel. Talk to us here, please. Your thoughts on where this goes next.
Well, yes, we have a situation where you have a no-body case and the investigators have to put things together. The house, I believe, is the most important part of the crime scene. And then you have to look at the body of water, which is not far from it, because unfortunately, when you see cases like this, they're either buried nearby, they're in a body of water, or the dumpster, unfortunately, is used in a lot of these cases. So investigators have their work cut out for them, but I still think they need to concentrate on that house, and if possible, maybe another search warrant and bring cadaver dogs in, because usually the victims are stored in that house for a period of time as the people are trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, great point, Sarge. Thank you for that. This is horrible. Dante Mills, want to go to you next, please. Your thoughts on this case?
Yes, again, these cases happen way too often, Julie, and a lot of times what you see is it's not a one-person crime, especially when you have someone who has been missing for 3 weeks before it was reported. You have to understand that people knew, right? Somebody knew that she was missing, including her mother. Now, will they speak with the mother and have her come forward? And if the word is that she was afraid of her significant other, if the police are involved, and let them know that they'll protect her, that he'll be in jail, will she come forward and tell her story about what's been happening? Will she also be charged? There's something was happening in that household where the child was used in sex trafficking, and she wasn't reporting it. Those are the things that you're going to look at. Who was involved, how long it's been going on, and then who they can get to come forward and talk about the situation, so they can close in on the story and get some finality on this case.
Yeah, great points. Dante, thank you for all of that. Last but not least, Michael J. Brown, your thoughts on this case, please.
Julie, good morning. I agree with all the guests. The only thing I want to put out there, which nobody's mentioned, is there's always the possibility that this young lady is not a victim of any death. And there was talk about the mother being concerned for her safety because of some type of violence by the stepdad. So there's always a possibility. I just want to play devil's advocate. There is the possibility that the mother was greatly concerned about her safety and actually put her in a safe location. So it's out there. I don't know the validity of it, but obviously the investigators need to pursue all different leads on this.
Excellent point, Michael. Thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit more about Madalina's mother in particular. So Diana Cojocari reached a plea agreement Monday. She was sentenced to time served for the 17 months that she was in custody. When leaving court, she was asked about her daughter.
Is Madalina safe right now?
Do you know where she is?
It's okay. I hope so. Come on.
She hopes so. Okay. Well, she's not an American citizen, and there's a chance she could be deported after pleading guilty to that felony. This means any information about Madalina's whereabouts would go with her if she's deported, right? The question is this morning, I think many people's blood is boiling just like it is mine. This mother had a duty to protect that child. How do we get true justice for little Madalina, especially when you have a mother like this who may have been complicit here? Don't know. Let's bring back in our power panel. Dante Mills, I'd love to start with you on this, please.
I'm going to follow up on Michael's point. I mean, her answer, I hope so, I guess is more promising than if she gave an answer that made it clear that she wasn't safe. You know, saying, I don't know who did it or something like that. So maybe she did put her in a safe place. these situations happen too often, and I think we do need to just get some information out there that there are safe locations for people, that there is a way out when you feel like you are in danger, that you should protect yourself, you should protect your children in those situations. Clearly, it was a problem household where the male in that household was not treating these people the right way, and you just hope that they got out of it. And I'm going to be in good spirits and hope that she got out in a safe way and that she wasn't killed. I would rather do that, since we don't know, than speculate the other way.
Exactly. Let's all hope and pray she is still alive. Michael J. Brown, to you next, please. Your thoughts on Madalina's mother and her potential involvement here.
Well, Julia, as former prosecutors, you and I know that we can do, and hopefully they've tried this, do what's called a proffer or a sit down. She already pled guilty to the lack of reporting, but there's still that potential homicide charge out there. So as a prosecutor, you would expect them to say, hey, you can sit down with us in our office. We'll sign this queen for a day or proffer agreement. You can tell us anything you want about her whereabouts, or unfortunately, if she is a homicide victim, and we can't use it against you on the direct case. And this may lead to finality one way or another. And it also could help her if, in fact, she in a beneficial way, put this child in a safe location, maybe even deal with the conviction that's outstanding. So that's what I would expect would happen, or at least an attempt.
Great points, Michael. Thank you for that. Sergeant Joe Giacalone, would you take us home on this point here? In terms of mom, how she could be helpful to the investigation, what would you do to maybe lean on her? As Michael said, there are ways to try to extract some information out of her and see if she could help be a witness here to find the child alive.
Well, I expect to see an ICE detainer put on her, and she's going to be back in custody, so to speak. They're not going to let her leave the country, and they're not going to deport her, and that might be the leverage that they need in order to get her to talk if they believe that something criminal has happened. This is something that is that's the way it goes in cases where you have somebody who is not in the country lawfully, and it is something that could be used to keep the person here. There's still a lot more to be known, but the prosecution will have a big job ahead of them to try to prove that this person is no longer here and that the person that they have did it. And that's how they would have to bring a homicide course when you have a no body case.
Exactly. Sergeant Joe Giacalone, Attorney Dante Mills, thank you both so much for your time and expertise.